Future of justice. Yes, we're looking at a near future where crime is solved before it actually happens. But guess what? The system just glitched. And today, that's why we're going to talk about the new sci-fi thriller by Chris Pratt, Mercy. I'm going to be real with you. Hollywood is clearly officially out of ideas. That's why year of 2026 is the year of the remake, the sequel, the requel, the everything cool. But this is an original film, not an original concept, but original film. But it's still not very intriguing or new. But with all that said, Mercy is basically, but with all that said, Mercy is basically a $60 million big budget screensaver. A better way to put it would be a $60 million Amazon special or Amazon original. But yet it somehow found its way into theaters. It took Chris Pratt, who is a major action star, just a major star in general, and they parked his ass in a chair for basically an entire film, and which was a terrible idea. And while all the quote unquote action that we did have in the film, it basically took place on a HUD screen. In my opinion, this was lazy, especially with an actor like this. This movie didn't need to spend $60 million. It could have been $5, but who am I? I'm not a studio head. And then the ending of this movie is pure AI trash, because it honestly does feel like AI wrote this script at times. Like, imagine the Minority Report, because that's basically what this movie is, just for the new era with AI, mixed with some elements of John Wick. Maybe that's giving it too much credit, but that's about the comparison I can give it from what I saw. But instead, obviously, we don't have Tom Cruise. We have Chris Pratt. He's playing a detective who, of course, is accused of committing a crime, and he has to solve it before he runs out of time. Woo, 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 woo. But the biggest question that I'm going to have at the end of this video, or maybe even sometime in between that, is, was this movie even worth going to theaters to see? Or should you have just stayed at home and stream it when it does drop? Or maybe not even give it a watch at all? But stay locked in with me and let's talk about this Mercy. But like I said before, I went to the movies thinking this was going to be a decent thriller. I wanted to see some cool AI tech because, you see the trailer and it's clearly going to be some AI tech with some flashes of some really good graphics and, obviously some CGI, but some really good effects and graphics. Then you see Chris Pratt, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a movie worth going to see. And I'm not totally against these screen life films. I think they're okay. They're not my favorite, but I get where they're going with it. And plus, this is the modern era, so there are going to be some screen life type things happening, and so it makes sense to the society that we live in. But like I said before, I learned very, very quickly that this was not going to be your typical Chris Pratt movie. This isn't any of those. He's going to spend basically the entire damn movie in a chair, looking at different little screams and pop outs as they pop out at him, and it's going to be all type of digital trash. But that's basically what the entire movie was, mixed with some plot holes and a bunch of other AI just mess. And for the life of me, I don't even know why they released this movie in IMAX or 3D, or for that, IMAX 3D. It did not need to be all that. I did not go to see the 3D version, but I've heard about it, and I'm sure seeing some of the things pop out at you in a good movie, they probably would have been well worth it. But to pay the additional money to go see this in 3D, IMAX 3D at that, no. You're not going to get a $50 movie trip from me to go see this. Catch me when Doomsday comes out. I'll be willing to drop anything for that $100, but not for Mercy. The movie doesn't necessarily feel small or cheap or anything, but it's honestly claustrophobic in a way that makes this $60 million budget not worth it. They're not going to make their money back on this movie, by the way, but they put it into it. And most of it was probably Chris Pratt. I'm sure that was $25 to $30 million of the budget, and I guess some marketing, but they're not getting their money back for this film. I guarantee you they won't. It'll stay in theaters forever until they get something back. It'll stay on demand forever until they get something back. Then they'll eventually release it to streaming, probably sometime at the end of the year, because they're not going to make their $60 million back on this movie. They are not going to break even. I'm sorry. I think the opening weekend they were shooting for $10 to $12 million. They'll be lucky to make 5. We'll see though. But honestly, if I wanted to see a guy sit in a chair for 90 minutes, literally 90 minutes, even though the movie is 100 minutes, so he sits in the chair and there's a timer while we're watching all of this. He sits in the chair basically a whole 90 minutes and he's trying to solve this crime, but it's all bait and switch, if you're asking me. It baited us into the movie theaters and to go spend our good hard-earned money to go watch this movie. And then from what we saw in the trailer, they switched the expectation and man, am I disappointed. But before we crack open the spoilers, and I don't think this is worth a non-spoiler review. So before we crack open the spoilers and get into the ending and I can tell you guys why I just wanted to walk out of the theater before the 90-minute mark. If you like unfiltered breakdowns and other videos like these, smash the subscribe button for me. It really helps the channel. I truly appreciate it more than you think. And let's go ahead and get into Mercy because it's not worth much more of our time. So like I said before, very contained movie. The movie starts off basically with Chris Pratt's character, Chris Raven, sitting in a chair. He wakes up drunk or hungover, and he's also a deadbeat dad. Let me throw that in there too, because they want to just drag his character down to the ground as much as they can. So I guess maybe they could build him back up throughout the film. But he's on trial for the murder of his wife, and he has 90 minutes to solve the crime. And I don't know why 90 minutes. They didn't really tell me why 90 minutes. I don't know why he didn't get 2 hours, a day, a week to solve the crime. But he has 90 minutes to solve the crime, and if not, he's going to get basically some electric pulse in his head, and he's basically going to die. He starts out with this 97.5% threshold of guilt. Why is it not higher or lower? I'm not sure. He has to get to 92%, so it's probable cause, or below 92%. So at least his probable cause. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not even sure why that, because 92% still seems pretty high. But they didn't really explain these rules very well. This is part of the plot hole I was talking about earlier, but nonetheless, he's sitting in a chair, he's trying to solve the crime, and that's the basic premise of the whole entire movie, and that's basically what the movie is in general. We see parts with his partner. We had the AI judge. Judge Maddox, which is played by Rebecca Ferguson, and she did a great job for what she had to do. I mean, she basically just had to look at the camera straight and make a couple of glitchy moves every now and then when she got stumped by Chris and, by some of the questions that he asked. And let me just touch on this before we go any further. One of the questions that he asked her, or one of the ways that he stumped her and made her glitch at one point, was by telling the damn computer that he had a hunch. And she says, "What is a hunch?" Like, really? You don't believe me? What is a hunch?
You're playing a hunch. What is a hunch?
Trust in my gut. And I'm beginning to think this court could do with a little...
But other than that, she was an ice cold AI judge. I mean, I guess that's what an AI judge should be. I mean, this is in the year 2029, so it's not that far from now. And maybe this is where the world is headed. I hope not, because if it is, there's going to be a lot of people going to jail for things they didn't do, because the AI judge and the AI system that has control of all of the cameras and can see everything misses a little bit of everything at the same time. And like I said, Chris is locked to this chair, so the groundwork that is being done, even though it's still on a screen at most points, is done by his partner, Jack, and she thinks that he's guilty as well of killing his wife because, the way that this system was designed, it's not designed to really fail, so he had to have done this. And so his partner, while she's helping him, she doesn't really have any faith in him, and she thinks he's going to basically go to jail and die. Or not go to jail and die, but basically he's going to get shocked by this chair and die by the time we get to the end of the timer. But I'm not even going to bore you with all the details, because in all these flashbacks, we see toxic bouts with his wife, alcoholism, all the things that can make a person look guilty. So they do a good job of that. But honestly, the major reveal for this film was that this AI judge that was, spearheaded and partially designed by Chris himself, it has flaws. Just like most computers and AI, it has flaws. And what's the flaw in this AI? It didn't even see the person that really killed his wife sneaking into his house. But we got cameras everywhere, and everybody has to have their phone or camera or whatever on them at the time. But the AI still didn't see it. Just like it didn't see what's going to happen at the end of the film. But this is a terribly smart, dumb system. But like I said, nothing really special. Once Chris figures out what really happened to his wife and he's able to drop his probability to below 92%, the AI basically lets him go, but not really let him go, because there's this other thing that's getting ready to happen. The person that really killed his wife and is pissed off at the system, is about to drive a 18-wheeler into the building where everything is. And I'm not sure why the AI didn't see this either, because you can condemn somebody to guilt and give them this high ass probability of being guilty, and you see everything, but you didn't see this shit coming. Stupid. Stupid as shit. 100 minutes that I wish I could get back. 100 minutes of something I could have watched at home on any app, Netflix, Prime, Paramount, you name it. It could have been seen there. And I'm not sure what the whole point to this was, because the movie basically wraps up basically saying that, hey, AI and people should 100% work together to make the world a better place. So I'm not sure if this was some sponsored ad that was thrown into a movie to promote the future of AI that we're going into, quite literally. So maybe it was that. I'm not sure, but this movie should not have been in theaters. And I'm not sure how many other ways that you've probably figured out that I'm trying to say that by now. This 92% plot hole. Why 92%? Isn't that still very high? If somebody's 92% probably guilty, aren't they still probably fucking guilty? Like, you tell me. Like, I think a good probability would have been like 50. No, maybe they are, maybe they're not. 65 even. But 92%, and you may not have done it. Get the fuck out of here. And then the whole hunch thing for AI in 2029, not to understand what a hunch is. I'm not sure if that was a plot hole, a typo, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but that is dumb. And then the 90-minute time limit. Why 90 minutes? Why not 2 hours? Like, it's such a odd number. I mean, we understand that the movie was 100 minutes, and I'm not sure if they came up with this 90-minute tag after they shot the whole thing and said, hey, let's give them a 90-minute timer at the same time, maybe in reshoots or something. But I don't know. 90 minutes? Give me a day. And like I said, the AI is dumb. The AI can't even, it has control over all the cameras, but can't see the truck coming down the road to come kill it. So miss me be with the AI judging my fate, because it can't even protect itself. The verdict for this movie is, don't pay your damn money to go see it. Don't do it. It's going to be a waste of your money. $15, $20, $25 popcorn, concessions, like it's like $40, $50 like to go see this, and you can just wait for it to come on VOD or streaming, or just, you're not going to miss it if you don't go see it. This will be in the same category with the Ice Cube movie from last year, War of the Worlds. It will definitely be probably one of the worst movies of this year. Sorry, but it's a big budget mess that didn't need to be big budget at all. They could have put me in this movie and it would have done just as well as it's going to do. But save your money, people. The movie did have a decent, like, premise. Like, I thought that was solid, and I did think that could go in a good way. This wasn't the way to do it. I think they need to start mixing some screen life movies like this with a little bit of people doing some real world regular stuff. I understand that's going to up your budget a little bit, but I think that would make movies like this a little bit better, especially if you're going to put big stars in them. They probably need to be doing something that they're famous for, like action in Chris Pratt's case. But I'm not going to talk you guys' head off anymore. I'm going to get out of here before the AI tries to take over and gets pissed off at me and cuts my show short or takes me offline. I will see you guys next time. This movie was made for the streaming era, definitely, but see you guys next time. Stay funky. Love you. Bye.